Awkward. What happens when athletes and fans screw up, goof off, or things just don't go as planned? You get the 25 most awkward moments in sports. But before we get to those, take a second to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button so you don't have an awkward moment and miss a video. These are the times when the players on the field wish they could just say "check please" and hightail it to the parking lot. These are the trips, flips, collisions, and dumb decisions that these players wish we'd all forget. So check in and try not to die of embarrassment as we check out the 25 most awkward moments in sports. This Iowa State player signals for a fair catch on a seemingly simple punt return. That means that all he has to do is catch the football. Seems pretty simple, right? But there's a little miscommunication and awkwardness ensues. Catching the football proves to be a little difficult when his own teammate crashes into him, resulting in a turnover to their in-state rivals, Iowa. This woman might not have known the TV cameras were on her as she showed her true colors, wrestling a foul ball from the hands of a little girl. It's not really a good look when you and your friends are celebrating the fact that you made a little girl cry. That is definitely not a good look. Steffi Graf was at the top of the tennis world and all the fans knew it. That's why during a lull at this event, one person in the stands shouted out a marriage proposal. Steffi was a good sport, and instead of immediately having security find them, break their legs and throw them out, she makes the most of the awkward moment and has the perfect retort lined up. Zach Gank is one awkward dude. Sometimes he just wants to be left alone. He found the perfect companions to hang out with in the cardboard cutouts that fill the stands of the 2020 Major League Baseball season. It's a little hard to tell which one is Zach Gank and which ones are the cardboard fans. Kevin Durant is one of the most talented players in the NBA. He can also be a little corny and extra awkward at times. Like when he tries to take a sip of water and forgets that he has a towel wrapped around his face. He had a perfectly reasonable explanation for it. He forgot that there was a towel wrapped around his face. Durant hopped on Twitter right after this so he could post on his 57 burner accounts about exactly how common this mistake is. Hey, losing a fight is frustrating. You give it your all and then come up short. It makes you mad, especially if you're expecting for the ref to raise your hand, but instead you see him raise your opponent's. But try and keep things calm and don't lose your cool so much that you accidentally punch a ring girl like this guy does. Now he's a two-time loser. There's nothing like seeing hockey up close and live. The coolness of the ice, the sound of the puck, the electricity in the air. Take it from comedian Bert Kreischer, who makes things awkward for this reporter as he's being interviewed in a live segment. Hey, you know what they say, if you got the body, might as well show it off. That's something they say, right? Well, Bert must have heard it somewhere. Auburn fans love to rush the field to celebrate with their team after a big win. They also seem to love trying to cut through shrubs and getting stuck. At this point, for big games, Auburn has to assign a security detail for shrub duty. From shrubs to plants, this is the infamous Toronto plant guy. Some fans appreciate an athlete's contribution to their city so much that they feel the need to get them a gift. After the Raptors won the NBA championship, this guy got a nice, sensible houseplant for Kawhi Leonard and searched the streets of Toronto to give it to him. Now that is super thoughtful. Now he just has to find him. The idea of a relay race seems pretty simple. You run, then hand off the baton to your teammate, and they keep running. Seems super basic. Unfortunately, one little runner didn't know he was supposed to keep running in the same direction and took off heading the other way, ignoring all the adults chasing and yelling after him. Maybe he'll figure it out when he sees the other kids running towards him. This is that awkward moment during the game where all 5 players on a team turn into a video game at the same time. When one of the Suns makes a steal, every single one of them turns around at the exact same second, exposing us to a glitch in the Matrix. Maybe they planned this. You'd think that with all the players in unison like that, they'd be able to actually win a game. You never want to admit you got faked out super hard. But when you bust your shoe open when you try to make a cut, it's a little hard to hide from your opponent. Fortunately, they let him put on a new pair of tennis shoes to finish the match after that. Lame. If you make your opponent bust their shoe, they should go barefoot. The playing of a country's national anthem is traditional at medal ceremonies, and like most traditions, it can get a little stuffy. But if you want to try and lighten the mood by making funny faces, maybe try and do it when you're not on camera. Actually, making those funny faces are a part of the British national anthem. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Stand up with your hand over your heart and stick out your tongue. Very patriotic. International basketball action is different from the NBA, especially the fan interaction. For proof, check out when Spider-Man runs on the court here to interrupt a game. His spider sense must have been tingling, or he just wanted attention. Things go from fun to awkward very quick as this reporter sleds face first down a hill and into a big ball of snow. Did she not see it when she got on the sled? Hunter Coleman tries to have a nice post-game interview, but his Texas A&M baseball teammates make sure that their fellow Aggie will not be taken seriously. Just when you think they are out of stuff to do to him, they keep doing more stuff. This soccer player will do anything to defend the goal, including pulling down his opponent's pants. The strategy works and stops the play. You know, it's a good thing this guy was wearing underwear. This whole thing could have turned out way different. There's nothing like the feeling of first hitting the ice. And it might be this youth hockey team's first time to do that, since almost every single one of them wipes out and eats it. Hey, stepping onto the ice is the hardest part. It gets way easier after that. Skeleton is a wild winter Olympic sport that no one is quite sure what the rules are. We're pretty sure it's something like sled down that chute fast. Also, we're not completely sure, but we don't think that you're supposed to throw a broom at the person in the middle of the event. Guess they wanted to start over and give this run a clean sweep. This guy manages to break free from the crowd for a wide open goal. All he has to do is tap it in. But no, he goes for the gusto and overdoes it. The goal is wide open, and instead of an easy goal, he soars it over the net. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Drinking from water bottles is proving to be one of the most difficult things in sports. Here's another tip. Make sure the top is screwed on. Otherwise, you're going to get a mid-game face wash. This classic boxing match between Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield featured one of the most awkward sports moments of all time. In the middle of the contest, a guy on a parachute floated down and landed in the crowd. Talk about an unwelcome visitor. How would you like to pay hundreds of dollars for a ringside seat, only to wind up with a stranger in your lap? Charles Barkley was an elite NBA player and a hilarious part of NBA broadcasts. But it looks like he came down with a bit of Ron Burgundy disease and couldn't stop himself from reading whatever came across his teleprompter. Sir Charles' eyes are connected directly to his mouth. When this UFC coach took an unusually physical route to pump up his fighter, slapping her on the face, it surprised everyone watching. But no one was more surprised than the cut man standing behind them. Taking a half-court shot at halftime has got to be insanely stressful. Especially when there's $250,000 on the line. Sure, you're dreaming of making the shot, but you've also got to be thinking that you might take the absolute worst shot attempt ever and wind up on an awkward moments in sports list.